I'm really very grateful to the work that I've seen NRF supporting for the last 5 years and almost 8 months that I've been here. We've had quite a number of research work. One of them is actually the one dealing with the Senate, where we are trying to target people who are physically disabled, especially in limb. And our innovators and our researchers have come up with an innovation that is able to help these guys even use a computer to solve some of their physical challenges.
In this multidisciplinary project, NRF funded us with 50 million Kenya shillings to roll out solutions for persons living with disabilities in our learning institutions. We were motivated by the gap that we realized during the time when the country was rolling out the Free Laptop project. We noticed that there is a group of students that are left out, and through our research team, we came up with solutions that could assist those who are physically challenged to access learning content in computing devices so that they can be able to learn with ease like other learners.
3 elements that make up a computer. We said we have the computer hardware, the software, and the user.
We started first by training the engineering student and the computer science student to be able to fabricate the devices, because of course these devices were not in existence, so we fabricated the devices. And then now we moved out and went to the 3 special schools, and we trained the teachers and caregivers so that they're able to use the devices comfortably without our assistance.
That information is what is going to be used to make decisions. Do you remember?
Through this project, we really had a lot of impact in 3 different schools in 2 counties, one in Isiolo County and 2 schools in Meru County, where the learning content was digitized through trainings that we trained the teachers.
We went ahead and identified the runners with physical disabilities, and we managed to train 35 runners. That is, from each of the schools we trained, we picked runners who are able now to be enrolled in the project, and we managed to train them, and they are currently using the devices.
We've also collaborated with the Catholic Diocese of Meru through Athi Special School and also the Goji Small Home, and they really opened up the doors for us to be able to create these solutions for them. And we can also even not forget the Ministry of Education, because through the school at Maua, we were able to roll out in Athi Special School the solutions, and the school is actually utilizing it. And thanks to the funding that we received by NRF, because they were able now to navigate computing devices, even if they are challenged physically.
Apart from providing the schools with the computers, we have also installed the relevant softwares that will enable the students to be able to manage, or rather to use these computers together with our 3 solutions that we provided. That is, we have got 2 hardware-based solutions, that is the flip mouse and the button interface, Fabi. And we also provided them with the camera mouse, which is a software interface that uses AI principles to enable these students to be able to navigate the computers using their facial expressions.
This has really created a revolution of how, as developers of software, developers of hardware, we need to be more inclusive so that we're able to ensure that the content that has all along been on hard copies is now available in soft, and the trainers can be able to use this content, and also the students.
What Guyo team, together with my friend Amos Chege here, have done is really to come up with an innovation that can help these people who do not have the hand, and just using that technology they are able to study, they are able to do the other thing that we people who are able in terms of the physical limb ability are able to do.
This project is having an impact, and with more collaborators and more support, especially financially, we are focusing on now rolling this out to other counties and more importantly, to create a Center of Excellence at Meru University of Science and Technology, where we assemble more assistive devices and also train more trainers from these special schools with the relevant skills to be able to implement this in their schools.
Another impact that is coming out from the CNET project that we are very happy, our students the graduates that we started with who are the TOTs, some of them are graduating this year, and those that are graduating are now being pumped back to the community, and they are the same people the community and these schools are going to be employing to be able to work in these assistive technology centers in our communities. We want to develop and come up with a vocation center where we will be able to now train more people in the communities to be able to use our assistive technologies. Of course, this vocational center will not be in the university, it will be in the community. So the community will be able to use an assistive technology vocational center and enroll more learners living with disability to be able to use the devices.
As a research team, we also focus on manufacturing, and we are looking at establishing a manufacturing plant at the university so that these technologies that we are designing can be fabricated from here and dispatched from here.
When you give us this money we use it for doing research as professors, but in those research projects that you support, we also bring some of our best students so that we train them in research capabilities, in knowledge discovery that can impact not only the university itself, but also impact the community.
Wakati umeipanda inachukua wiki 2 umeanza kupalilia. Within the 3rd week umeanza kukula.
The production is good. Uwe na nyungu uweke, kuwe kwa chupa uweke.
They have a lot of micronutrients.
Very nutritious as compared to the exotic vegetables.
I want you to be rich, not by me giving you money but giving you knowledge.
I get value out of it.
In a world grappling with food and nutrition insecurity and a changing climate, Africa holds a solution. African indigenous vegetables, AIVs, rich in nutrients, resilient to drought, and deeply rooted in our culture with a great potential for income generation. African indigenous vegetables are a lifeline. The country experienced prolonged droughts in 2023, affecting more than 4 million people, and national floods in 2024. This, coupled with low productivity and poor food consumption habits, has led to chronic food insecurity and malnutrition. In addition, African indigenous vegetables are highly perishable and poorly commercialized.
The potential of African indigenous vegetables in Kenya has not been fully exploited. However, there has been a global renewed interest in African indigenous vegetables because of their great potential, and this has led to development of various technologies and innovations in the area of production, in the area of utilization, and also in the area of storage and usage of these vegetables. However, the production has increased because of the technologies we developed. It has increased, for example, between 2011 and 2019, there was an increase of over 180% in terms of tons produced in those years. But still, currently, the productivity or yield of African indigenous vegetables is on an average of about 6 tons per hectare, which is far below the optimal of about 30 to 40 tons per hectare. So there's room for improvement. So therefore, we would like to see these vegetables increasing productivity and production over the years so that we can be able to contribute, or they can be able to contribute to food and nutrition security in Kenya, in Africa, and in the world.
National Research Fund supported a transformative initiative, upscaling AIV's climate smart technologies for food and nutrition security in Kenya project as a model of uptake of developed technologies by end users.
The National Research Fund is a state parastatal whose mandate is to fund research in different disciplines in Kenya. And at NRF we put out a call on research and commercialization. Key among the ones we funded was the upscaling of African indigenous vegetables. The sole reason was Kenya is faced with the food shortage and security, and we saw it wise to promote the cultivation of African indigenous vegetables. One, it was meant to address the issues to do with the nutrition, because we know that African indigenous vegetables are rich in vitamins and essential minerals. Two, it was meant to create jobs through farming and, of course, selling of African indigenous vegetables.
The NRF Upscale AIV project, which is funded by National Research Fund, and it is a project that was given 15 million Kenya shillings under the thematic area of food and nutrition security projects of NRF. The aim basically was to upscale the production, preservation, and utilization of technologies that are climate smart to ensure optimal production of these vegetables for food security in Kenya. It's a project that was implemented by 10 consortium members sourced from 2 public universities and 2 private companies, and it was carried out between 2023 to 2025.
The lead implementing institution, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, and 3 other partners, Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, Iron Growth Part Limited, and Local Research Development Institute played a key role in the implementation of this project, bringing academic and scientific rigor, private sector experience, innovation, and technical expertise to upscale climate-smart technologies.
We are very proud to provide leadership in initiatives aimed at agricultural innovation and transformation in response to the realities of climate change. NRF, through the project, gave the university a unique platform to work very closely with communities and farmers, as well as other partners, including private sector players, to improve food and nutrition security in Kenya.
The goal is actually focusing on upscaling technologies for impact so that they improve production and consumption of indigenous vegetables in Kenya for food and nutrition security, so that people can eat better, earn more money, and improve their livelihoods from African indigenous vegetables.
We just try this, growing this managu, na hiyo mrenda, na fresh fertilizer.
Across 2 counties of Kiambu and Kakamega, with an overflow to Nairobi and Vihiga counties, the project rolled out practical solutions through Farmer Field School FFS approach, where farmers were trained on new African indigenous vegetables, registered varieties, and quality seed, fresh organic fertilizer from black soldier fly (BSF), cooking of dried and fresh African indigenous vegetables, commercial production of African indigenous vegetables, and solar drying and preservation of African indigenous vegetables to enhance shelf life.
BSF is a tropical insect. It breeds very fast. It grows through the larval stages, the egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult. So it is caged in a BSF unit. It uses the waste components. So you feed the larvae. So we have the BSF, it lays the eggs. So once the eggs are incubated in waste, so the larvae are the ones that are at that stage of the larvae, that the ones who decomposes the waste to what we call the organic frass fertilizer. It uses a very small space. Number 2, waste is not a problem. In fact, it helps reduce the waste. So
colleagues, is it possible for you to tell a friend that we want to start?
Fertilizer, it has been disintegrated, meaning the moment you put the frass fertilizer in the soil, the plants utilize it immediately. Another advantage is that it is eco-friendly, meaning this is a climate smart.
Hello, we want to start the afternoon session. We want to start the afternoon session. If we have some of the delegates at the door or just outside this building, we request that you get in. But I also request that at our own individual capacities, is it possible that we call our colleagues and tell them to head here? Because if we are not careful, we leave this place at 7, unless we want to shred some of the sections of our program.
A hidden treasure that lies in keeping the Saiwal cattle breed.
Hello.
Hatuwezi amini kitambo ati ndume anasaidiwa na anasaliwa bila ndume. Lakini sasa hivi tumewaandika na wanasaliwa bila ndume kutumia mbinu ya AI.
He is among the beneficiaries of an ambitious project by the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO, which is seeking to reintroduce and
access to the genetic material by farmers in this particular area of Narok County.
Calro hopes to replicate the program in other parts of the country to boost Saiwal cattle production. Dennis Utieno, Smart Farm.
unpacking the policy environment to enhance sustainable agriculture and food security. And that was to be followed by a media cafe, which is convened by ISA. And it's a roundtable on the role of science, technology, and innovation in enhancing food security, nutrition, and safety. But now we are going to just have a flip. What we are going to do is that we are going to start with the media cafe, and thereafter then have the other session on unpacking the policy environment to enhance sustainable agriculture and food security. In other words, the session we are just about to start is the session in which my colleagues and I should be very, very excited about. Professor Aduda, there are some people who are right behind you. If you've ever had any question about how the media operates, especially that cliche of if a dog bites a man, it is not news. But when a man bites a dog, it is news. This is the session now. But now, we are going to do that perspective or reasoning through the lens of science. And our moderator for that is going to be Immaculate Makoko from the International Potato Center. They work in collaboration with ISA AfriCenter. So I'm going to invite Immaculate to just come forward and start getting us ready for that session. A round of applause for Immaculate, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on all protocols observed. And I take this moment to welcome you all to this next session. The Media Roundtable is going to be a dialogue where we expect all your participation, especially the science journalists and the scientists who are in the room. So let's not be quiet. Let's interact and make it productive and an important session for us today. So in this session, we'll be looking at understanding the strategic and role of science, technology, and innovation in promoting food security, nutrition, and safety. We'll also look at misinformation, disinformation on the country's readiness to harness innovation for improving food and nutritional security. This will be an opportunity for us to learn what we think is right, and now we'll realize it's not, and relearn some more information. We'll also look at strengthening collaboration between journalists, policymakers, and the media for food security and nutrition. So partnerships are welcome, and we'll have all of you participating in this session. So at this point, I would like to invite Dr. Karembu, the Director for ISA AfriCenter and Chair for Africa Science Dialogue and OFAB, to come and give her remarks. And after that, she will go ahead and introduce the President for Kenya National Academy of Science, Professor Atemo Micheka. Welcome, Dr. Karembu.
I'm not sure how long it can take. No, I've always been with the CIP. Yes. Thank you. Should I pass over to you? They are on the way coming. Okay. So, because now we've invited you to speak. So, you need to invite him. So, are you coming to invite me? Okay. Students.
Let me just browse and see whether.
So, what can we do as we talk?
All right.
I think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are giving ourselves a few minutes to wait for the PS to walk in. and then we can proceed from there. In the meantime, we'll request the media team or entertainment to give us some music as we do that. Thank you for your patience.
And also reproduction-wise.
I really want to thank NRF for supporting this. I've seen through this project, we have quite a number of undergraduate students that have graduated. We have quite a number of master's students that have graduated under Remy and his team. We have quite a number of PhD students going on. When you give us this money we use it for doing research as professors, but in those research projects that you support, we also bring some of our best students so that we train them in research capabilities, in knowledge discovery that can impact not only the university itself, but also impact the community.
To acknowledge that our smiles are glowing because farmers took time to grow the crops and the products that we have just enjoyed. So aren't we happy? Do we have the farmers here? Can we just give a big clap to the farmers? They are here. Allow me to stand on existing protocol because of time and just go straight to the topic of today. This afternoon. So this afternoon, we are very privileged to have our PS, Science, Research, and Innovation with us to interact with a number of journalists, science journalists, who have come all the way from Nairobi because they really wanted to have that close engagement. And how we are going to do it, we had a long program, but instead of that long program, I'm going to just very quickly first acknowledge the National Research Fund CEO for giving this opportunity for a Science Media Cafe. Now, when you hear about Science Media Cafe, what it means is science over coffee. And you know, when you're having coffee, you are relaxed. So I want everybody to relax because this is an interaction that we are going to have over the next 30 minutes. And most importantly, where we are having it, this morning, we had the Vice Chancellors talk a lot about the kind of work they are doing, but the negative perceptions that stakeholders out there have about research, about science, about innovation, mainly because they have not yet been able to link the science or the research with the society or end users. And one important component that has been missing within the science, technology, and innovation is the role of the media. And at ISA AfriCenter, working together with the Kenya National Academy of Science, we've been working to create that platform where journalists can interact with researchers and scientists to be able to have one-on-one conversations so that they can help us unpack the technical jargon that tend to dominate the scientific language. So journalists who are here, maybe you can raise your hand because we may not have time to have you later. Okay, I can see some there. We are having approximately 40 science journalists who have traveled all the way PS so that they can interact with you. And this is because the media plays a very important role in shaping the narrative about scientific innovations. And when that narrative is based on hearsay or propaganda, then the public tend to distrust what scientists do or what researchers are doing in their labs. And so we have created a platform which is called the Africa Science Dialogue Platform, which is again trying to create or to link journalists with experts and policymakers and also farmers, so that that quadripartite group of policymakers, researchers, farmers, and the media can help us in understanding the language we need to use when we are dealing with the ordinary citizen or the recipients of our of our research products. So I want to acknowledge all the partners we have worked with in creating this platform of science journalism. I want to acknowledge all the journalists who are more than 200 now that we have trained on reporting about science, and appreciate the good work that you have been doing. And as we embark on this journey of this conversation, we would like you to ensure that you get a contact of a researcher or a policymaker that you did not know, so that you can add on to your people that you're going to interview when we leave here. So let's have a candid discussion, let's get the insights, let's try to build that strong partnership between the farmers, the policymakers, and yourselves, so that together we can drive our country based on evidence and based on research, where research outputs matter to society. And with those brief remarks, I would like now to invite our keynote speaker, who is none other than the PS, Professor Abdulrazak Shaukat, to come over, give your remarks, and then the journalists are ready to engage. During the engagement process, we will have the host of the Africa Science Dialogue Platform, Peter Theuri, who will lead the media PS's interaction together. So thank you very much, PS. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Dr. Margaret Karembo. Good afternoon. Hamjambo. Muko salama. Haya. Very good. Before I give my remarks, let me take this opportunity to recognize the presence of Mheshimiwa Makilap, who is representing his colleagues in the Committee of Parliament that deals with education and research. And Mheshimiwa, we're very honored with your presence here. I know the other members of Parliament will also join us by the course of this week. So before I do my remarks, let me ask Mheshimiwa to come awasalimie kidogo. Mheshimiwa, karibu. Makofi kidogo.
Asante sana, Professor. Professor Abdulrazak Ali Shaukat, the PS for Research and Innovation, distinguished scholars, researchers in this room, journalists of science and technology. May I take this opportunity to greet you all that good afternoon. As you've been told, my name is Joseph Makilap. I'm a member of Parliament from Baringo North, and a member for Education, Research, and Innovation in the National Assembly of Kenya. My background is a teacher. Professor Shaukat will tell me whether I'm a scientist or not. I'm a student of double mathematics first degree. So is that science or should be science? And Professor Micheka Ratemo, who is here, has been a great scientist in this country. So I am privileged to be with you this afternoon. We were meant to be with you from the word go until the end of this session, but things crop up. You know, between the state, the executive, and the legislature, we complement one another. And this morning, we're at another meeting in Nairobi for joint parliamentary meeting of Kenya Kwanza and our new partners in-house, the ODM. And I was not able to attend. I came straight here because I had another engagement for public participation on the privatization bill of 2025, National Assembly of Kenya. So this afternoon, I said, let me prepare the way for the National Assembly to be able to join you anytime from tomorrow But I want to assure you that in your midst, in our Department for Science, for Education, Science and Innovation, our key research, every department of Parliament has a research fellow. And I'm privileged to be joined by Dr. Mburu, who is a lead research in the Education Committee. This gentleman is a PhD holder in research and science and technology. And his colleague, my brother, is also here. So Parliament is inside you. There are very many, up to certain terms, they are inside you, but dressed in suit. You can't know. So I am privileged this afternoon, Professor, to join you and your team of scholars. First, to thank you and Rev for organizing this symposium, this festival. You see, it is time that our country research products or results of research should be able to move out of the channels, out of the books, out of the minds, to become practical in the field, where it will be able to change the economic matrix of our country to become an industrialized nation. This country, if we don't utilize research, we shall become a consumer country where everything is done elsewhere and dumped in our country. We need to protect science and research in our country and put resources. And that is why Parliament is here. Because one, Parliament will allocate the necessary resources to ensure that research continuously goes on. Parliament will translate or whatever ideas that you have in research and technology, embed it in law, so that whatever is passed or brought forward is actually put into law to avoid a lot of litigation in this country. So that whatever scientific research findings that you've been able to come up with is actually anchored in law. So, two principal things that Parliament will do will help you in the legislation to anchor everything that you do into law. Two, to provide the necessary resources and the network to ensure that that function becomes a success story for Kenya. Professor Shaukat came from Austria, what is called atomic science. This man, when we interviewed him for this job, he lectured us in research until all of us became totos. Professor, you are just rich in your mind. I want to congratulate you and say, this is the best brains this country will ask. These are the brains that must be protected. So as you continue with this fair, Professor, think on how we can get intellectual Kenyans, genius Kenyans, students who on research, who can do a lot of research and be protected like in US, where top brains of US are actually admitted in, they are the ones doing their NASA things. And they are highly protected, even security-wise, because what is inside here, that person is so valuable that can change the world. You can also think about that person who produces atomic bomb, which destroys the world. Hiyo akili ya hiyo mtu isipochungwa, hiyo mtu lazima achungwe vizuri sana. So as you do it, please come to Parliament, tell us this is what we want to do, we are ready to help you. For example, the BT cotton in this country is a product of research. I come from a place where BT cotton is grown. It will bring the necessary revolution in that industry so that we don't rely on mitumba and other things. We should be able to manufacture things from our country because we are cotton producing country. We also need to come up with a gene that will combine an animal. You know, I'm a pastoralist. You can have an animal that has milk and meat at the same time and disease resistant. Three things. Can the scientists do research on? Three things. Make sure you have a cow that has milk, that has meat for sale, and that is drought resistant, disease resistant, and number 4, eats less. Abatia, muunde ng'ombe, hao mbuzi, inaweza kustahimili yote. Vitu ngapi? 4. Mukitoa hiyo mwenye anatoa hiyo anione nyuma ya hema. I will also facilitate that particular person to ensure that we have that kind of an animal. So really, I love science and I love research. And I want to wish you all, those who will be here, and my colleagues, I'll also be back with you on Wednesday and Thursday, so that I am also interested in knowledge. Yeah? Knowledge, research. Chamini, that is what will transform Kenya. That is, if we want something that will transform Kenya, science, research, and innovation. That is what will transform Kenya. Other things, no. That is what will change this country to become an industrial nation. Otherwise, if we are consumers of other people's ideas and we have nothing to produce, then this country will not be heading the right direction. So, on behalf of the Committee of Education, I wish you well. I wish you good deliberations. Come up with the necessary ideas. Take it to the farmers. Change the world. Asanteni sana. Mungu wabariki. Professor. One and only one, Professor Shaukat Ali Abdul Razak. Mimi najua majina yako yote from day one. Hakuna mtu mwingine anajua majina yako yote. Asante sana, bro. And some of you do not know, Professor went into primary school in Kilifi, huku karibu na Shakahola huku. Huku kabisa, yani mtu asione ati huyu jamaa alisomea tu prestigious schools in Nairobi and other places. This man is a real bottom up. Honestly, a real bottom up. When you see this man, if you look at his CV, this is a real bottom up for Kenya. Wish you well and success, my brother.
Thank you very much. Kongoi. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. You know, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's really an honor for me to stand before you and just to do some brief remarks before we take questions from the colleagues from the media. But now that Mheshimiwa has explained all that story, it was not easy, I can tell you, when I was doing my vetting as well. He's the one who was asking me the most difficult questions, most difficult ones. And now you can see he's a scientist by all standards. And he's very vast. I could see when he was asking me and talking about where I did my primary school, because he went through the CV as well and he read. But Mheshimiwa, thank you very much for the confidence that you and the entire committee, and of course by extension His Excellency the President, allowed me to enter into this space and make my humble contribution into the space of science, research, and innovation. This afternoon, I had a speech, but then I said, look, do I read or do I speak from the bottom of my heart? And I chose the second part. And let me start where Mheshimiwa had left. This is the sort of things that we want to speak, we want to interrogate. That's the beauty of science, that you can be able to have one animal that can be able to do the four things that you're talking about. That you can be able to have efficiency in terms of utilization of food or feed for livestock. You can be able to ensure that the same animal is resistant to some diseases. And you make sure that the same animal can be able to give you a little bit of meat, beef. And the fourth one, that animal can be able to give you the milk as well. But Mheshimiwa, let me add, you can also be able to get a fifth product from the same animal. That this animal manure, you can use it and fertilize your soil as well. Yeah, so Mheshimiwa, you can add that into the fifth aspect as well. But unless you embrace biotechnology, you cannot be able to do this. Unless you embrace the advancements in science, you cannot be able to do this. Coming back to the science, I would like to pitch from where Mheshimiwa had left, that we need to first ensure that we are producers of technology and not just consumers of technology. We have been consuming for such a long time. In fact, I tell people, if I'm in a room like this, and there is a juju, you know what I mean? There is a juju, and we ask this juju, All imported things disappear. I'm telling you, we'll be left naked here. Because our watches are imported, our ties are imported, our suits are imported, shoes, you name it, they're imported. Now we cannot afford to import even food. How can you imagine when you hear that we have a shortage of maize, we have a shortage of rice, we have a shortage of the things that are so close to us? It is unacceptable. 60 plus years after independence, we are not self-sufficient in food. It is unacceptable. And that's why there is a solution. The solution is to embrace science, technology, and innovation, and be able to produce what we love most, and be able to safeguard and protect it under food safety and food security. It is unacceptable that whatever we produce, 30 to 40% goes to waste because of post-harvest losses. Yet we have a technology. You can be able to attack and be able to preserve feed, for example, food, by using electron beam. You know that countries are using that. You can irradiate food. But if I tell you that there is food irradiation, you will start wondering whether it is safe or not. Yet countries like China, literally all their spices is irradiated. And we love to go to China. Let me tell you today, if you have been to China and you've eaten their food, you have eaten irradiated spices. There is nothing wrong. Why am I saying this? It's a misconception of science that we have. That even when His Excellency the President stands up and talks about vaccinating our livestock, we start saying, hey, what is he trying to do? How can we be afraid of science? This vaccination has got to be done because the animal have got to be protected. It is unacceptable. 60 years down the line, we still have foot and mouth diseases. Yet we know you can even have irradiated, leave alone vaccines, irradiated vaccines. And you can store it for a long time. It is about technology. Look at the same livestock that we have. We are now inseminating. But before you inseminate, you can use isotopic technique and be able to determine the exact time of estrus when you can inseminate a cow to ensure that you get one calf every year. And now with the sex semen technology, you can inseminate a cow knowing 100% that you are going to get a female calf, because good practice, as farmers who are here would confirm, you have to get one calf every single year. It is unacceptable 60 years down the line that in the ASAL, which is 80%, you have almost 1.8 million people that are facing food insecurity. Is unacceptable that you have almost 500,000 children that are going through the malnutrition, yet you can do fortification of feed. This is science, this is technology. It is unacceptable that we can concentrate on only maize and white maize flour, yet we have sweet sorghum, we have millet, and this morning they demonstrated to us you can use rickets, for example, and make cookies for our children that are facing the challenges of malnutrition. It is unacceptable, a country like Kenya, that we want to grow and become the middle income economy, yet our children under 5 are being faced with the challenges of stunting. It is unacceptable that we cannot measure to the level that we want, the level of obesity. It's unacceptable that almost 40,000 plus Kenyans are being faced with the challenges as scourge of cancer. Yet you can produce feeds that will be able to be more nutritious and be able to prevent the importation of feed that have been added so many additives that are also contributing to the cancers that we see in this country. This is what I want to try and resonate with you. And Mheshimiwa, what he just said, we need to safeguard. We need to be so jealous of our intellectuals. We need to safeguard and be able to contain the brain drain so that we can have brain gain. But it's not enough. I'm talking this morning and this afternoon that we must be able to have a brain circulation so that one university speaks to the other. It is unacceptable that we continue working in silos. that one university has got a cutting-edge research, the other one does not. We have almost 79 public and private universities. It is unacceptable that we are up there. We have to go down to the ground. And that's why we are celebrating in this festival. This festival is to bring everybody, secondary school, primary school goers, the farmers, the scientists, the policymakers. And that's why, Mheshimiwa, you play a pivotal role, because we come to you and you decide with your committee how much money. We must walk the talk. It is unacceptable that since 2013 in this country, we have been talking about 2% of the GDP to go into research, development, science, technology, and innovation. We are at the moment at 0.8%, Mheshimiwa. We need at least 1%. If we want to leapfrog, if we want to compare ourselves with the Asian tigers. It is unacceptable that 60 years down the line, countries like Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, we were at par with them. These guys are flying, we are still walking. Yet we have the cutting-edge institution. I'm so proud that I went through Egerton University as a student. I came back lecturer, senior, associate, full, and deputy vice chancellor. From this university, that we used to have ice cream here, yogurt, cheese, and I used to get my eggs as well when I was a student in the mess here where students go. All right? Yet today, we still have the same challenges of ticks, borne diseases. We still have the same challenges of not able to feed our livestock. Mheshimiwa, yesterday I passed through Naivasha, the dairy research. I was so impressed that you can be able to have a 2-acre plot and grow your lucerne. You can have your napier grass. You can also grow, for example, sweet potato vines, napier, lucerne, and be able to feed 6 cows on 2-acre plot, as long as you can be able to have the fodder. We are talking about 80% of the asal, yet the technology is there. You can do urea molasses block, that you can be able to allow animals to have a complete diet and be able to lick that and sustain them during the challenges of drought. We must be able to develop mechanism, fusing technology with economics as well. We must be able to look at the scientific aspect, but most importantly, we have to address the socialization of science. It is not enough that we produce science, and this science does not have impact in the society. And that's why His Excellency, the President, under his leadership, he has better the bottom-up economic transformative agenda. One of the pillars is agriculture, food security, food safety, and food sovereignty, including nutrition. Well, let me tell you, a lot is happening in our institutions as well. And when you go around in this university this week, you will see the sweet sorghum, the bread that is being produced. When you go around the exhibitions, you will see. But the challenge is, how do we communicate? Day in, day out, if you open our newspaper, if you listen to the news, you will only be hearing more of politics and less of this very useful thing that can add a glass of milk on the table or a kilo of meat on the table. So that's why I am so thrilled that the journalists, the science journalists are here. We need to have an effective communication. We need to demystify the misconception. We must embrace science, technology, and innovation if we are to leapfrog. I want to create an agenda in Kenya by Kenyans for Kenyans. And that's the only way we can be able to do. Break the silo mentality, build synergies, have multidisciplinary, multi-institutional approach in addressing. We have a lot of technology. Some of it is gathering dust on the shelf, and we want to take it out. We want to do commercialization of this technology. We want to take full advantage of the county government. And that's where we are going to devolve the science, research, and innovation as well. I am urging each and every governor to set up a science office, an innovation incubation center, so that we can be able to leverage on the biodiversity and the diversity that we have in various counties. We must embrace the blue economy. We must embrace the circular economy as well. The only way, the solution, in my opinion, is to bring the science, the research, and there is no entity in government, I stand to be contradicted, that does not have a component of research. You've had Mheshimiwa here as a member of parliament. He is a competent person with a PhD as a science, as a researcher as well in the office. And all areas you have to do research, because we want to make sure we take a position from an informed level by doing research, by making sure that research, policy, the academia, the industry is linked up as well. We must advocate for the public-private partnership. As government, we will continue creating that enabling environment so that the private sector can also come and invest. We are not just looking at the government to do 100%, but we are also going to create the enabling environment, private sector to come in, venture capitalists to come in, and be able to take our products to the next level. We must safeguard whatever we produce. We must have a very strong intellectual property rights. That's why we are working very closely with KIPI. We have to look at the industrialization. We have institutions like Kiridi, for example. We have leather council in this country. Why should we import shoes? We must be able to add value into the products that we have. We must minimize exportation of raw materials and be able to develop industries so that we can create more jobs and wealth. And I believe it is through science, research, and innovation that we can be able to have all this done as well. So I'm standing here really to urge you colleagues from the fourth estate media groups that are here. Let's partner. I'm reaching out to various media groups. Let's partner. Come to my office. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a conversation. Any subject that you are not sure of. We have young, brilliant Kenyans. We must trust our own scientists. If scientists have come and say we are doing this cutting-edge research, why should we doubt them and ask them, is country so-and-so also doing it? Why should we be followers always? Why can we not take the lead? We must lead. And you can see what His Excellency the President is saying, that we are going to do what needs to be done, not because it's popular, but because it needs to be done, so that we can be able to transform this country into a middle income and high level country. And it's doable. We have beautiful blueprints in this country. We must be able to implement all the things that we have prepared. I am glad that the CEOs of the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation, they are here, and we can be able to look at advisory, promotion, and regulatory aspect, because the ethics in science is also very important, so that it is not misused. You know, during the COVID-19 that we had, it was supposed to be a wake-up call. Do you remember the way we were begging, leaning down, asking for vaccine? We have cutting-edge institutions in this country that we can produce our own. But ethics has got to come in so that we are making sure that there is the biosafety and biosecurity as well. Whatever we use, it is for the good use of the population. We have the Kenya National Innovation Agency that looks at the entire pipeline from the ideas, prototype towards commercialization at all levels. We have our youth that we want to make sure they come into the space. We also have the vice chancellors that we are also looking at the program of the entrepreneurial framework and change of mindset so that it begins up there. We have to change the approach. We must have a different mindset towards science technology. We must be able to think outside the box, and where possible, we create a new box of science, research, and innovation. And we have the National Research Fund that you have seen. Witnesses are here. Testimonies are here. In a small, modest way, we are able to fund research. And this research now has been able to produce some products all right, and that are able to go out into the shelf, and we need now to do the upscaling so that we can be able to address the issue of food insecurity. So really, let me pause here. You might have a specific questions that you might want to answer, and we have agreed, Mheshimiwa, if I'm not able to answer the question because he's a scientist, he will take half of the questions. It's really been an honor this afternoon to speak to you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon once more. Yeah, after such a powerful speech by CS, I know everybody is wondering what I'm going to say. So you'll forgive me if I don't match up because I wouldn't. All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a journalist as well. And when we talk to people about and innovation, I know many people think about sustainable agriculture and food security. And yet we know that by 2050, Africa is expected to be home to over 2.5 billion people. Over 50% of these people will be living in urban areas. We were told a lot today in the morning how in Kiambu, what's sprouting nowadays is a concrete jungle. If you've been following, and we've reported extensively on it, when we have these United Nations climate change conferences, a lot is discussed about climate change, and probably we just think about it in passing. In 2021 in Glasgow, they were discussing about how temperatures are rising past 1.5 degrees over pre-industrial level temperatures, and we are trying very hard to curb that. Climate change is inevitable. So much has been spoken today. I won't go to the nitty-gritty. We have many professors who are going to answer these questions. I have heard Mheshimiwa is also going to field 50% of the questions. So let's make sure that he takes 50% of the questions and no less. Here I have my friends from the further state, my friends, and they will be shooting questions that I expect PS and Mheshimiwa, I'm glad he is in the panel, to field. Yes, I know he will disagree with that. Actually, I'll ask you a question about how you came from Kilifi near Shakahola and made it all the way. Now that we know that, and we want to invest in our young pupils in school and make them love the science, the STEM and STNI. Get journalists shooting their questions. I will ask my first question, probably as an introductory question. Now, Prof, some of these innovations that you are talking about, scientific innovations, tend to face a lot of resistance once they come out. Pseudo-intellectuals, anti-scientists, groups. How do we deal with this menace of misinformation and disinformation that is curtailing uptake of technologies such as biotechnologies and making Kenya lag behind in adoption and therefore among peers? And we'll also have a roaming mic. Oh yeah, Prof, you are requested to come and answer from this place so that we can see you better. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. A very good question. When you look at science, you know, when you speak about science and especially and a bit of that innovation as well, misinformation, disinformation is plenty. Because one, let me start by the way it is also presented. And sometimes I don't want to blame the society. The society would like to learn more about it. There is nobody who is going to refuse uptake on something that is useful. So that communication of science, the pedagogy, the way we demystify it is very critical. It's very important that it is presented to the society. Sometimes mimi husema wakati unaongea mambo ya sayansi, uvumbuzi na mambo kama hayo, unaongea mpaka yule grandmother, mama nyanyako ama babu yako anaweza kukuelewa. If you reach that level, then you know that you have penetrated in people understanding, because people want to understand. So that's one, communication of this. The other thing is the way we have our mindset. What we produce ourselves might not be as valuable, as good as what comes from somewhere else. We also have this culture that we always ask, is it made in so and so? Is it made from so? You know, we have this. You know, we go into asking so many questions. If it is made in Kenya, you start doubting. If it is made in your village, you even doubt more. But if you are told it's imported, you start to think probably is a better quality. So that misconception that we have also has contributed to where we are today. But if we can be able to have a change of mindset and be able to ensure whatever comes out from ourselves, it is as equally as useful or good, then we can be able to embrace. The other thing is change. Me, I tend to think that sometimes we are, and because the theme is about food security, I give you one example. The example is, if you're told today in Kenya there is a shortage of food, it's not shortage of food. It is shortage of maize. Yet we have millet, we have cassava, we have sorghum. Look at my own village. If I invite you in my house today at the coast and I give you cassava, I have to apologize and say, samahani, leo hatu kupika, because I believe I must give you pilau or biryani or chapati. But look at the way I do it. In the evening, I will take my car, drive to Mama Ngina, and be able to eat what? Cassava chips. You see the way we do it. So here you are, yet you know that you can produce cassava for food, cassava for feed, cassava for ethanol, cassava for other things as well. And we are struggling with the space of replacing the starch and so on and so forth. So I've taken a little bit longer to explain this, but it's the way we engineer our minds and the misconceptions that are outside there. So communication is very important. You have to break down the science to the society so that they can be able to understand. So that's why for the last decade I've been a student of the socialization of science. My last point is, I tell you, I was taught, I did maths, chemistry, and biology. And I was privileged because I come from the coast, I did extra Kiswahili. Mwalimu wa Kiswahili akiingia darasani ataanza kuuliza, je, hamujambo leo? Habari za usubuhi. Mwalimu wa mathematics akiingia, this is how it's going to end. Morning students. This is mathematics. Mathematics, chemistry is not an easy subject. It's not like Kiswahili or literature. This is maths, and if you joke, you will fail. That's why, Mheshimiwa, we almost abandon mathematics and say it should not be compulsory. Also the way we are communicating. So we make our people think that mathematics is so difficult, chemistry and biology. That's why we don't want to embrace science. So I want to pause here, and then I can come back if you think that I didn't do justice to that question.
I think you did justice. Only that if I go to tell my grandfather about it, I don't know what words to use. About what? If I'm telling my grandfather about biotechnology, I don't know the vernacular words to use in that. And my grandfather can't speak Swahili or English.
Yes. No, we have to develop this vernacular, and that's why our neighbors are very good in this. Okay. For example, our neighbors, they have all, watazungumza mambo ya sayansi, watazungumza mambo ya utafiti, watazungumza mambo ya uvumbuzi, science, research, and innovation. So I fully agree with you. We also need to get vernacular so that when you are explaining to people about genetic modified organism, about biotech, nanotech, we have to explain to them in a language that they will be able to understand as well. So we have that task to develop this into different sort of languages as well. Just like if we can be able to have the local radio station, but we are very good in dancing and listening to music, yeah, into this. So we need to have this. And I've started discussing with my good friend and a brother, Isaboke, the PS in charge of communication. I'm going to start a channel, you know, in radio so that we can be able to talk about science, technology, and innovation, and where possible, we get funders and supporters to have it in vernacular as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. I know, my fellow journalists, you have a lot of questions to ask. That was my question. I know you have yours. So there'll be a mic that will be coming around, and you can shoot as many questions as you may. And I see questions right here. Prof and Mheshimiwa, it's your time to answer questions.
My name is Egerton from the Star newspaper. Bona PS, thank you. You talked candidly about the need to be producers and not just consumers of our technology. And in Kenya, we have a lot of forces that are hindering this. Yet, while you're doing that, our scientists are busy developing these technologies. So how do we move from this? How do we overcome these challenges and hindrances and make a shift? Thank you.
I think one thing is that we need to believe, sorry.
I think we take 3 questions at a go, so you can answer several questions.
Okay, my name is Miriam Njeri Murigi. I write for People Daily newspaper. I would like to know, most of the speakers have been saying that we have innovations, research outputs that are gathering dust in shelves. What are the bottlenecks that are preventing these promising researches from reaching the market? And what is the government doing to bridge the gap between research institutions and the industry?
I'm Robert Omaina from Inoro TV and Inoro FM. There is a story I was doing about the potatoes research that was done in Nyandarua, where this particular institution was a major actor. But then there was a lot of bureaucracy on who to interview. Writing letters and story plan reduced the whole idea, and the story was overtaken by events. Unfortunately, the research had a backlash and rubbished by the political class from Nyandarua. Do you have a swift mechanism in place to attend to such issues that you furnish journalists with the information for us to demystify the information or the research to a language that is well understood by the smallholder farmer in the villages who takes our radio stations as gospel truth? Thank you.
Okay, I'm told I can take those ones. Let me start with the first one. I think the issue is whatever we produce, how can we be able to ensure that we can be able to utilize it? I think this is a policy issue, and that's why under draft, we have a draft science, technology, innovation policy. We have that section as well, that we want to advocate in the government policies to have a shift so that we can proudly be able to produce our own. In the government system, we have G to G, that government to government as well. This is whatever government entity is producing a product, the other government entity should be able to utilize that. And a good example is what we have seen, for example, when you're having bar soaps that are produced from neem, for example, by innovators. I would like to see us developing a policy. If it has been verified and tested and we see that it's good, then it should be able to be fully utilized. Of course, we have to put some tax tariffs in the sense that we, in my opinion, minimize importation of products that we can be able to do our own production. When I go to the shelf, just to give you an example, I see a lot of coconut milk in the shelf from very far, southeastern countries. Yet we have a vibrant industry of coconut at the coast, and I would like to see us investing more. And for us, we will be continue discussing with the relevant entities within the government setup so that we can work together on this. Then there's the issue of research to marketing, the research that is gathering dust on the shelf. I think it is the way we also conduct our research first, that this research has got to be demand-driven. When the research is demand-driven, that you are looking at the entire value chain, you are looking at a challenge outside there. I give you an example. If the challenge is aflatoxins, and then you come and do your research, and you develop a strategy or you develop a tool that will be able to address the challenges of aflatoxin, that research will not gather dust in the shelf, because then we can take it to the next level and be able to do the commercialization and production of prototype and so on and so forth. If it is a research, just for example, because certain produce has got deficiencies in certain minerals or amino acids or proteins or so on and so nutrients, then you can be able to look at fortification of such product. That research will not be able to gather dust as well. So my office is setting up a team that will be able to look at the clusters and identify such research that are demand-driven through National Research Fund. You've had during the interview today a farmer that has clearly demonstrated of how he's using the artificial sort of insemination in terms of production of the sahiwal and so on and so forth. Such research will definitely not gather dust, but it's going to move forward. My brother, the issue of potato is very unfortunate, because if there's something good like that, then we need to jump quickly. We need to provide more information. We need to respond to the questions that you have. Within the office of NRF, Kenya, and of course my State Department, we have the communication office, and we are going to have a very strong and vibrant public, PROs as well. But I always like to identify myself as one of those advocates as well. My office is very open. If any of the journalists would like to have that discussion, we can have it. In fact, I just told Margaret that we would need to set up things like this. It's not just we should wait for another festival. We can always come and have media brief to tell you what are the cutting edge research that has been produced, what are the innovations that are in the making, and what are the commercialization that we've been able to support, so that you can take it up and fill the space. Because honestly, we are getting tired in reading just too much politics day in, day out, and listening as well. So we need to hear some good news that research is contributing in the social, economic space of this country.
Thank you, Prof.
I have only one question in regards to what the government is doing to address the funding gap in research and innovation.
Okay, mine is a follow-up and simple. I was asking what's the funding, the funding gap, and what are you doing in the short term to ensure that we move from 0.8% from 0.8% to at least 1.5%? Yeah. Okay. And also to Karembu, maybe you can tell us what are the cutting-edge technologies that we are looking in the near future?
Mheshimiwa, quite a heavy thumbs up on devolving the science and innovation into the counties. I know it's a heavy task. You really need good strategic operating procedures to come in. Now, my question goes in, maybe is there a policy that we can restructure to involve in the private sector? Because as we speak, commercialization is a heavy bag to blow. You will mention commercialization as something that can be done at a go, but it's a step-step procedure of incubation. So is there a specific policy that you're structuring? And if it's not, then as young researchers, young Turks, we are ready to sort you and help you out. Please let us know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah? There's a question. Is the mic working? You look more of a farmer that was funded by NRF rather than a journalist. Is that correct?
Yes.
Go ahead. I've just mustered your face. Go ahead. Sorry, looks like maybe you want to borrow mine? Let me answer as they sort out the microphone. I think the first question is, what are we doing about the funding gap? Now, as I've said, when you look at the science, technology, innovation, and the first and the second, as you rightly say, you are complementing, we were talking about 2%. It's a long story. This is a discussion that we had sometimes 2012, 2013 in Naivasha. And we had proposed 1% of the GDP to go into R&D, ST&I, because heads of state at the Africa Union 2006 at Malebo Declaration, they had agreed that if you want to have a meaningful research, which there is a correlation between the research, innovation, science, and the growth, economic growth, you need to set up some amount of money. Countries like South Korea, they are almost at 3%. So we agreed 1%. But then during that meeting, they felt that if 1% was 2006, 2007, 5-6 years before, why don't we set up a large or bigger target that we should strive to achieve? So then, of course, as you look at the entire ecosystem in the government, our rough estimate is 0.8%. What are we doing to ensure we can move to at least 1%? One, of course, Mheshimiwa here can be able to testify. I have been talking before I left the country, and now I'm back to the legislatures that, look, whenever you are discussing priorities and where you should put resources, please think about science, research, technology, and so on and so forth. So this is one way that to do more of advocacy to be able to look for resources. Secondly, is also to look at the space of the setup with the private sector. The public-private partnership, this is also very important. The government cannot do everything. So now I'm putting a team in place to prepare what we call bankable documents that we can solicit for resources as well. You've had Egerton University here receiving certain amount of money, but on their own, they are also able to do resource mobilization. So we want to build capacity and capability in individuals that would also be able to look for resources. There's a lot of resources outside there to leverage, so that when we are talking about this 1%, it's not just the government, but it's the government and the partners. And then you look at the tax relief, for example, tax rebates. We are going to have a discussion with KRA as well. Because again, there are people, philanthropists, there are people with resources in this country. The only thing they want to know is what happens if I was to give 1 billion or 2 billion towards research. So these are some of the incentives that we would like to discuss with the relevant offices, Treasury and KRA as well, so that we can entice them to make their contribution into the space of science, research, and technology. In terms of what policies are there, first we were looking at innovation policy, and then we say, because we have science, technology, innovation policy, we have one policy that is also speaking to what you've just talked about in terms of bringing the private sector. And then of course we have the commercialization process in the making as well, because it's very critical that whatever we do, we should be able to move to the next level. Idea to the talents, ideas, prototype towards commercialization. If you go to the tents today, just to give you one example of a young man that has developed a meter, a water meter, that you can be able to put a code and be able to, just like the way you have, what do you call this for electricity? Token. You do a token, you know. Now, he will reach that level and that's it. So we need to find a way of how we can be able to commercialize it. So we'll be creating that ecosystem, that space for people to come and invest. My big vision, hopefully, big vision is we can develop what we call the shark tanks for those guys who are watching the innovations. So that you have a young person who has developed an innovation and they can stand before people with resources and they say, here is a product. For example, if today you come to me and I have money and you have the sanitary pads that the young girls have developed and they have shown in their stand using the biodegradable material, honestly, you cannot go wrong. Then you can take that sanitary pad and say, look, I need a share of 20%, all right? And I'm going to invest 10 million or 20 million or 1 billion, you know, into that sector. So these are sort of the things we are thinking, you know, as we move forward towards that involving the private sector, the venture capitalists, the entrepreneurial in the space of the commercialization of the products.
Okay, so now we take the final round of questions for Prof.
My question is, I just wanted to ask one question about how can farming become more attractive to youth? Because if you see now in Kenya, majority of youth are unemployed, and that is where many value chain, especially in agriculture, require the youth. How can we make this farming more attractive to youth? Thank you.
I think I'll touch on the accessibility part of it. My name is Madelina from Radio Amani. So in terms of the innovations that you've spoken about, I think most of the farmers complain about how expensive these machines are, the storage machines. You've spoken about electrical beam. All these ideas, they're so good, but are they easy to be practiced by small-scale farmers on the ground? And also, in terms of the successful stories on your side, I'm interested to know some of the successful stories that you've been able to touch the farmers at the community level. The last one, but not least, I'd love also to understand, do you also involve the farmers and community generally in participating in all this process, in the research process, not only waiting for the policy? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm told there's a last question from this side.
Good afternoon. My name is Esther Okech from Kenya Female Advisory Organization, Kefiado. Here I am. At the back.
Where? I can't see you, sorry.
I'm at the back.
At the back? Ah, okay. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
This is part of Leave No One Behind.
Yes, even at the back we have to see, you're right.
Thank you very much. The question which has been asked is about the democratization of research, and where the information, where the research is supposed to be reaching people at the community level. For example, when we are looking at the issues of inclusion of women and those with disability, we'd like to know, when people are talking about funding, how much is the resource or the data which we are having on research is gendered, and where can it be accessed? So when we are looking at this particular one, what gender equality and social inclusion analysis does government have that shows that data has been democratized so that communities can receive it in packages which are used for them? So even, for example, is your website disability inclusive? So that then when we are talking about access to information, that your website in government can be accessed with those with disability.
Thank you very much. I prefer to do my submission while standing. My name is Daniel Murugu, and I'm joining this forum due to public interest. Before I make my question such, to the madam who represented the CSR, the speech you gave her there were some omissions. You never captured to the public the kind of research publication you've done as a ministry. That's number one. So because here I'm holding what is actually called the Kenya National Livestock Research Agenda. This document was validated at Caro headquarters on June 16th.
Which media house is this?
I'm a media service consumer.
Ah, okay. Because I thought I was discussing with the journalist. Is it open out to all? I'm just wondering, my brother, I'm not cutting you short. And we know each other, no?
Yeah, sure.
You want to, can you say something about me and you? You told me when I was going out, you reminded me.
Yeah.
Please say it.
So do I ask the question or?
Say me and you. Where did the relation?
I've known you actually when you are lecturing here.
Sorry?
I've known you since actually you are working here as a lecturer.
Yes, so you have known me when I was the deputy vice chancellor, he was telling me. So because I thought you are a scientist and not a media personality.
So can I proceed maybe?
Let me ask the moderator. Moderator? If he says yes, we proceed. Moderator? My job is to answer questions.
Prof, let me just help you on that one.
Yes.
Dan Murugu is a figure that we know very well in this public space in Nakuru.
Yes.
We will be better off if we just respond to his queries.
If he had?
Let's just respond to his queries.
Yes,
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you. I better start once again. To the representative to the CS, in your speech, and this is actually not your mistake, it's actually the mistake of the speech writers. You actually never captured the research publications you've done as a ministry. So maybe I should actually not maybe shock you. I'm carrying one here. So this document was validated on June 12, 16 at Caro headquarters. And I was actually in that forum. Another research policy we did actually for public participation was actually on the agriculture research policy. That one we did around 2022. Now my question to any Bwana PS, because you confirmed that we are known to each other, on actually what is actually called recognition of prior learning. So I'm interested to know how do we strike a balance between academia-based research and maybe any research or innovation that would actually be inborn. I hope I'm very clear.
No.
Academia-based research and research which is actually inborn.
Research that is inborn.
Yeah.
Indigenous, for example. Like, for example, indigenous.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I want to make this discussion very lively.
Yeah.
So recognition of prior learning, we strike a balance between what is academia-based research and maybe research because maybe somebody is actually gifted. Finally, I don't have a good message to the DG at Nakosti. Last year you did a strategic plan for 5 years, and maybe when ordinary Kenyans wanted to have an interest on the same, they were never given a chance to interact with you. Thank you very much.
So, Prof, you take those. That's the last question for the session. Thank you.
So let me start. Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. I will attempt, and then if the representative of the CS wants to add, she'll be able to add. But look, how do we make farming, especially for youth, as an attractive venture, so to speak? I think it all begins with the schools, with middle level college, universities as well. It's the way we teach it. And this is one thing that I want to encourage, farming as a business, because now there are many platforms that have been created where young fellows can be able to have access to resources. So I think if we can teach farming as an entrepreneur, and seeing is believing, because we have every year so many agricultural shows, we have festivals like this, and we would like our young population to also be able to come to this space. So training of agricultural courses We need to have that business mind and entrepreneurial mind. In my opinion, that one we are going to empower. And then we can be able to take advantage of the programs that the government have. The equipments that are somehow expensive is all about economy of scale. I don't expect, for example, a small-scale farmer to invest into food safety, irradiator, you know, or even a small-scale farmer sometimes might find it very difficult to have a milking machine, so to speak. But we have a mechanism where the farmers can be able to come together, either in a society or in a cooperatives. And when you do that, and we have a very strong and vibrant medium small enterprises, which my sister Susan P.S. is spearheading this. And if they can be able to come together, collect their milk, for example, collect their feed or food and be able to process it, do value addition, that way you can be able to cut the cost and work on the economy of scale. And then issues of how we can be able to support. We have Nyota Fund, Hustler Fund, Uwezo, we have the Innovation, now Research Fund as well. All these are opportunities that are available for our youngsters that they can be able to take advantage. My sister at the back, the issue of democratization of the research, we have a very strong gender, PS and State Department as well, who actually informs us in each and every of our indicators, performance indicators. So we are very live to ensure that nobody is left behind. There is all inclusive, and that is being measured. So even in research, there is no discrimination, so to speak. In fact, if you look at some of the adverts that we do, we even say that women, for example, are encouraged really to respond and to apply. In terms of physically disability, inclusiveness, challenges, you have asked a very difficult question. I'm not sure because my website is yet to come up, but Kenya or NRF or Nakosti, if you want to respond whether your website is disability inclusive, you can be able to say so, but it should be. But I think what we are saying is that we look at that space where youth, women are also part and parcel of the agenda. I've always said that they should not be on the menu, they should be part and parcel of people who are sitting around the table. So wherever we develop these policies, research policies, innovation policies, they are also part and parcel of that group so that we can listen to their voices as well. Last but not least, my brother, I want to pick the issue of academia research and the issue of inborn, or if you like, indigenous. I think this is very important. There's no, in my opinion, dichotomy of knowledge there. All is research. And it was actually here when I was the Deputy Vice Chancellor, I brought 30 herbalists when I was the DVC research. And I was telling my colleagues, I'm going to do exactly now, so that to listen to the herbalists. It was here that Ezra Martim, under his leadership, we have the botanical garden. That was the idea, that we can be able to use indigenous knowledge. And I visited Jomo Kenyatta as well under the Sajorek project between Kenya and China. And exactly what we were just talking about. So we need to tap the knowledge, the indigenous knowledge, that we can be able to use it. So in my opinion is we should not just focus on the academia, but also the other research. Today we had young girls demonstrating to us about the coughing syrup. And this is, you know, they're talking about ginger, turmeric, lemon and honey, and they're making their concoction, and we can be able to have that. If you go deep in Baringo, I spent quite a number of years here, they have a honey that is being produced underneath, not by the bees. And this honey is very good. I've used it on my children. Whenever they cough, you use that honey, and you can also be able to boost the immunity. These are indigenous knowledge. So I fully agree with you, and thank you for bringing indigenous knowledge, because I would have told the journalist as well. So my brother, we uko sawa. Uko sawa kabisa wewe. Asante sana.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Those were a lot of questions. Yes, Mheshimiwa is going to speak, and then immediately after he is done speaking, we'll hear a comment from the NBA and from Professor Omolo, and then from Afama. Very brief comments, but Mheshimiwa, you didn't answer any questions, by the way.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just before I leave, because I have another assignment, fellow Kenyans, this matter of research, one, must be patient. We must be patient. If you want the results of research to be perfect, watch a shortcut, watch a corruption. Because why are people so impatient to wait for results for something to happen? Because you have a lot of mentality of making a quick kill immediately and you don't have the patience to wait for the results. I want to just give you a few things that you can go take home with. Please, as people of Kenya, let us stop reading from the book of lamentation. Let us move from the books of lamentation to the books of Ecclesiastes, of hope, of encouragement, that you can do better. You can move from here to something else. You can do this research and it will give you value. It can give you money. Professor, my take to you is this. You have the best place in this government. You know what the president meant well for you. You have the best members of parliament in the committee to give you the right legislation. And I want to promise you, and my colleagues will promise you, that for research to become meaningful, we must fund research in our universities. We must create a fund that goes to research in all our universities so that we get the thinking and the innovation going on in the universities. This 2% and 0.8% is too little. Please, this time around when you go to the budget, come with a minimum value. Even propose that we can have 5% of our VAT. 5% of our VAT goes to research. Why not? Today we have 7 shillings going to scrutinization. We have a certain percentage of your income going to these things called affordable housing and so on. So if we have a ring-fenced fund to help the ministry, including maybe 3% of VAT going to research, that is when our country will change. That is when our country will change. 2, can we, if a government deliberately and intentionally decides that this country must become industrialized and therefore put all systems go for research, innovation, technology. How do we do it? Legislation. If we stop today, that today Kenya is grow cotton, there is no more importation. Watu waende maandamano, wamalize, warudi shamba, wapande pamba, pamba iletwe, yende chinari, people will wear what belongs to Kenya. Stop the importation of mitumba. Kenyans grow cotton. We improve our industries, and we put on what belongs to Kenya. Today, if we say we stop importing, if we bring a legislation, a law that stops importation of what we can grow in Kenya, na sisi tuwache ukatel ya kuleta rice, ya kuleta mahindi, when our soils can support rice growing, can support maize, sorghum, cassava, food brought and grown in legislation, Sharia, utupatia. I'm telling you, that is what will change Kenya. Deliberate, intentional. Finally, if we stop, for example, using pesticides. I went to this country called, I went to Geneva. There is no food. Food grown using organic manure only. Huko Europe, hakuna kukula chakula inatumika. These too many chemicals. Mtu ana spray mboga yake leo, kesho inaosha na mvua, tomorrow the following day analeta soko. Wewe unanunua ujui ilisprayiwa lini. Mtu anakamua maziwa ya ng'ombe ambayo ujui ilidungwa lini shindano, unanyorosha. That is our meat products are not finding market in Europe because we are not disease free. How do we do these intentional and deliberate things? Legislation. Just wake up one morning, we pass a legislation, stop importing what we can grow. Stop these things, let us grow our cotton, let us grow our food. The youth that we are talking about will grow enough food to ensure that there is food, this country becomes a food basket. So, Professor, lete maneno ya sheria, tukusaidie, tukuongezee pesa, kama bunge, mambo yetu itakwenda huko mbele. And then, TVETs, and TVETs, universities, let us ring-fence some certain amount of money for already commercialized research findings. We can get a certain percentage to go to our polytechnics, our universities, so that we can grow our research thinking in Kenya and protect what is called intellectual property. When we do these deliberate positions, then we shall go far. Look at the Nyayo car of 1990. How did it go? You are the one doing it. If we could have gone that way, Kenya today could be manufacturers of vehicles. So until we have a deliberate, intentional decisions in our country, then we can be able to do best in science and technology. And I propose, Professor, my last proposal is that, please, you are the engine of the ministry. Give us, let's have a proposal of at least research centers in Kenya. A research institution only for agriculture and its products. Another research center, we built it to masterclass, like Massachusetts. One for technology, and another one for the other things that you know. And we put money. When we put money, we shall get the knowledge that we require. And then those who innovate, there are small scientists like this man who innovate something, we reward him heavily. Have you not seen reward works? We pay him well. When we gave money incentives, when the president gave money to Harambee Stars, ilikuwa kufunjika mkuu bora to win. So if we motivate our scientists and put more resources in them, watafunjika mguu kutafuta akili ya kuleta Kenya. Hao namna gani jameni? So the spirit is intentional, deliberate decisions that the country must take. Then we shall be where Japan and Asian tigers are. God bless you. Continue reading in research from the book of Ecclesiastes. Let us stop lamentations. Thank you so much and God bless you.
So yeah, thank you, Mheshimiwa. He told us to buy Kenya and build Kenya, and also to stop reading the book of Lamentations. Prof, once we ask questions in heaven, we shall quote you. NBA, real quick.
Thank you very much. Mheshimiwa has talked very elaborately that BT cotton is cultivated in Baringo, and so is cultivated in more than 20 counties in the country. I want to assure the media and the members of the public, as this science is being carried out by various universities and research institutions, the government did establish a competent body to oversight that research, and that body is what we call the National Biosafety Authority. It was established in 2010, and this came after the Parliament approved the Biosafety Bill in 2008, and after that the National Biosafety Authority was established in 2010. So far, the National Biosafety Authority has approved 4 crops. The first crop is what we call the BT cotton. It was approved in 2020. It is currently being cultivated in 20 counties. Last year, the National Biosafety Authority also approved the BT maize. But we got challenges. The deployment of BT maize has not happened because of the court irrigations. But we are also proceeding with the consideration of other crops, the virus-resistant cassava and potatoes. So I want to assure the public we have an adequate regulatory policy, the Biosafety Act, and the institutional framework to assure the public of biotechnology innovations. Thank you very much.
Okay, just to let you know that PS Shokati is leaving the room. Thank you very much, PS and Mheshimiwa, for that. Professor Omolo, for a quick comment as we wind up.
Thank you. My name is Professor Mola, as you've been told. I've been requested to comment about localization of biotechnology in the country. Based on what the PS has talked about, that we need to have facilities that we can access and use to take research to a next level, I would like to bring to the attention of the audience and the media fraternity that Egerton University, through the Kenya government, is going to host what we call International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, Regional Research Center. This is part of UN system, which is aligned to UN operations, and we will develop a center of excellence that is for the region. And the region here, we mean almost Africa region, both Anglophone and the other one, the Francophone. This center is not for Egerton University. The center is for Kenya government on behalf of other member states in the region that is hosted at Egerton University for all scientists in the region. So it is a facility that is going to be state of the art, and we believe that it will take research in biotechnology to the next level, in the sense that we will be accessing international forum. At the same time, we are able to cascade what we get to the local community. So there is effort. There is good investment also that is being done by the government, and I'm happy to hear that the legislature is promising to take action in terms of investment in research. So thank you. That's the bit I wanted us to share with you. Thank you.
He's outside, so I think that will be organized. In the meantime, journalists also, because there are those from Nakuru, you're reminded about the OFAB Media Awards that is happening for 2025, and you are submitting stories for between August 30 last year and August 30 this year. Please don't forget that. They are science stories, and that's part of why you are here. We'll go to the next session. And I'll hand over. Thank you very much for your collaboration and the many questions.
All right, a round of applause to Peter, please. And of course, a round of applause to all the other panelists led by our PS, Professor Shaukat Abdul Razak, who once worked here as the last office he held here was Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of research. It is now 5 minutes to 5 p.m. and we don't want to keep you here for a very long time. We request for your indulgence to just have about 45 to the next 60 minutes to have that discussion we were to have immediately after actually lunch, and that's unpacking the policy environment to enhance sustainable agriculture and food security, and it's going to be moderated by Dr. Margaret Karembu. Dr. Karembu, I don't know how many of the panelists you are to have initially are still in here, but it's up to you to see how you will constitute that panel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I think we learn many lessons in every event, and one of the lessons we are learning that is very important to keep time, because if only we kept time, we would not be rushing. But I also appreciate that there's so much learning that has gone on. So for our journalists, thank you so much for coming. Please, the PS has extended an open invitation, and we'll follow up to see that we can create another forum where you can interact with him much better and for a longer period of time. Possibly that time we'll also have some coffee, so that when you smell the coffee, it can diffuse the jargon or the high electric voltage that scientists talk about when they are talking about biotechnology. So thank you so very much. We are now moving to the next session. Actually, this session was supposed to be done in the morning. That is why I'm here now again, coming in, because the Science Cafe was specifically an ISA event. But let me now, first, as I call upon the panelists who are here, to come to the front, I would like us to just stand, stretch a little bit, greet the person next to you and introduce yourself to him or her, and tell him or her that the festival has started. The festival is on. So can I have the following in front? Dr. Albert Nkwasa. Albert Nkwasa from the International Institute for Applied Systems Analysis. Let me also have Dr. David Ngige. Yes, and also if you can come closer so that we can continue with this panel. If you can come a little bit closer, then I want to invite Honorable Leonard Kipkoech. Bor, are you here? Please come in front. I want to invite our CS representative today, Phyllis Jane. Please come in front. We also have a representative of Dr. Eusebius Juma Mukwana, PS Industry. Please come in front. We have the university, Egerton University representative in the panel. That is Professor Owol. Yes, please come in front so that we can start the panel. So I hope you have been able to stretch and you have introduced yourself to somebody, because the essence of this festival is to also network. So make sure we have representative from PS Environment. PS Environment is here. Oh, Dr. Festus Ngeno's representative is here. Let's see how many we have. Please come closer so that we can have a very close conversation about unpacking the policy environment to support sustainable agri-food systems. Please come closer, those who are at the back, so that we can have a close interaction. So we are going to do this fast because I know my panelists have been waiting for a long time. Thank you so much for your patience and resilience until this time. I believe that the ideas you had prepared are still on. They have not floated. They have not evaporated. Marion, am I missing anyone else? I'm good. Okay, so this topic is very, very dear to me and to my institution, because we've been looking at how best to get policies implemented to the latter, if at all. But we also know that one of the most difficult challenges when it comes to development of policies is getting it communicated to the right people, having the right people to get implementation process, getting the necessary guidelines so that you can guide the policy implementation process, and most importantly, complying with that policy. So my panel today, I'll give you 1 minute each to introduce yourself and where you are coming from. I come from a community where we don't take bragging rights of others. So I don't want to miss anything that you want to brag about in 1 minute about yourself and what you do.
Good afternoon. I'm Phyllis Njane from State Department for Agriculture. Agriculture Research and Innovation Secretary. I'm also a policy expert and an agribusiness expert. In the policy space, I have been there for 15 years.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm Albert Nkwasa. I'm based at the International Institute of Applied System Analysis in Austria, just about 10 kilometers outside Vienna. And this is an international research institute that advances systems analysis and uses research methods analytics to help achieve SDG as well as reduce the human footprint. So we'll have a training as well. Maybe I can use this time. We'll have a training on Wednesday in systems analysis approaches to tackle complex global challenges, and I invite you to check it out. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, moderator, for the session. Good evening, distinguished participants. My name is David Ngigi, the Acting Director General, NACOSTI. NACOSTI is an acronym of the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation. NACOSTI is known for so many things, but briefly, NACOSTI is a regulator. It's also do advisories, promoting matter science technology, and also a coordinator for the sector. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Professor Ward George, the Director of Research at Egerton University. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you once more. I'm an agribusiness by specialization and also with a lot of interest in impact assessment, covering crop and livestock value chains. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Sally Kimasop, Environment Secretary from the State Department for Environment and Climate Change, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. I'm here on behalf of my peers, Dr. Engineer Festus Ngeno, to discuss on how all of us can contribute to policy development that can be able to impact the world. And I'm an environmental scientist, an environmental chemist for that matter, and immediate former lecturer at Masinde Mulira University. I know my VC was here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that quick introduction. And with much humility, I want to request the Director of Research, Directorate of Research, Science and Technology, Dr. Roslida, please. You are also supposed to be in this panel. Please, come over. We need to discuss matters of policy on research, science and technology when we have the directorate here. Please. Come. Okay, as Roslida is coming, I want to give a short story. Word has it that in a number of countries, what they have been doing is taking Kenya's policies or laws or acts and just cutting and pasting, removing the Kenya component and just including their country. And I'm sure you have heard about Malaysia, Singapore, even some countries in the West Africa, Nigeria. So this particular policy, what those who are charged with developing that policy did, they took a Kenyan document, changed everything, Kenya replacing with their country, but then the kind of fees that were to be paid were put in KSH. KSH, if you are paying for research, KSH, $1 million. If you are paying a penalty, KSH, 300 million. So, when they took this document to Parliament, they started discussing it, and they came to how the fees are going to be charged. And what did they see? They found that their citizens who are non-Kenyans are going to be paying in Kenya shillings. What does that tell us? That Kenya has some of the best policies. But to my panelists, one of the questions that we want to unpack when it comes to policy implementation and policy changes, what are some of the challenges or the barriers that are limiting implementation of policies or institutional policies to ensure sustainable agricultural food systems? What kind of challenges? So I would like again to give you a round of 1 minute. Please talk about one challenge and your suggestion of what can be done about that challenge. Who would like to start?
One of the challenge I see as a Kenyan and someone who has been in that space for some time, we do policies to achieve our targets. And these targets, when after they have been done, we put our document, it's evident, and we've finished. And I think what we should do is to do a policy that we all address the issues that we think are a problem, But again, when it's my performance target, I'll do that part, but then the implementation is not part of that. So we need to marry the performance target with the implementation. Because if I have to do it because it's my target, then that target should not end there. We should see it being implemented for the goods of Kenyans.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Phyllis.
Yeah, thank you for your question. I think I'll probably mostly re-echo what Professor Shokot mentioned, and this is about fragmented policies targeting individual sectors. So for example, you have land, water, energy, climate. I think it's gone, it's back. And these are all treated in silos. And this is also later inherently transferred to the institutions. So you look at the government, the research institutes, and the private sectors also working in silos. And I think the solution here, coming from an institute that deals with system analysis, is to use a systems approach where you'd ideally position like the agricultural sector in this global environmental context and see it as a way where you achieve food production, but then as well addressing other issues such as land use and then climate resilience as well as community support. So that's like my 2 cents. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So fragmentation, and I hope our rapporteurs are taking the notes.
Okay, thank you. I think one of the aspects I'm seeing as a barrier to enhancing or impeding this sustainable agriculture, for me, I will look at the issues of technology constraint in terms of access to the relevant technologies as we go forward, because our policies are very clear in terms of the policy direction, what we want to do, but I will see our farmers have these issues and challenges in terms of accessing the needed technologies. Way out, I think it's continued capacity building and training and sensitizing our farmers as to where we want to go as we want to promote sustainable agriculture. So technology access is key, the constraint around there. Thank you.
What can be done about access?
Great. I think in terms of access, one, it has to go to in terms of the issues of the resources, and sensitizing, creating awareness in terms of our farmers, what need to be done. And of course, we always have this elephant in the house in terms of the resources that we are putting in terms of providing proper technologies. We need to continually increase our resources in terms of able to provide what is needed for us to be able to get it right. For our farmers. So continuing increasement of capacity and resources.
Okay, thank you. Dr.
Thank you. I want to change a little bit and a little bit controversial. I think one of the big challenges we avoid to confront is governance. We have the best policies, but implementation fails because we have a lot of interests and what I would call governance or political interest. This actually deviates all the interests of the policy that we do. That's why you see people are copying our policies, but when it goes somewhere else, it works. So we are not implementing what we want because we want populism. We want to make ourselves look good. I want to impress my citizens or my constituents. But you are not following the requirements of the policy or the direction. So we end up not implementing what we want. Otherwise, we implement what makes us popular.
So what do we do?
The best way is that let's put the right people in the right places.
Okay.
That's
so
very simple.
Yeah, matching competencies
with
sectors.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We've said that, yes, Kenya, we have various policies, yet we are not seeing the impact. One of the things that I think is really we need to work on is we are all working in silos. There is a policy that is tackling matters of climate change, yet it is not guiding the people in agriculture, especially in food production. There is the early warning matters in environment, yet farmers in the agriculture sector are not using that data so that they can be able to be advised on what type of crops they are supposed to grow. So all of us are working in silos, and there's a lot that is being done, but no one is reporting. It is fragmented information, and so there is need for us to bring all that information together. And again, a third one is there's disconnect between academia and the policy implementers, because research is supposed to drive policy, so that now policy can be implemented based on what is already working. And so there is need for synergy among these stakeholders and partnership among the various stakeholders, so that now we can move as one country, as one people, to tackle the various challenges.
Okay, thank you. Let me now come to the Directorate of Research, Science and Technology. You have heard about some of the challenges that are there in implementing policies. So, in your view, as you introduce yourself, what can the Directorate do to pick those challenges, fragmentation, silos, repetition, so that we can get value in what you are investing when developing the policies?
Thank you, Daktari, and thank you for ambushing me. The same way Jesus will come without us all knowing, so I was brought here without my knowledge. I'm Rosalie Dewar, and I'm the Director of Research, Science and Technology in the State Department for Science, Research and Innovation, a very new State Department. Previously we were at Higher Education and Research. I appreciate what we are discussing now, because the Directorate is the technical arm that formulates the policies that we are talking about. And the challenges that have been brought on board, it is true that the challenges are there. And what the Directorate is trying to do is to bring everybody on board when we are formulating policies. There is guidelines that have been given for formulating policies, and we start out with the stakeholders identification, and after that then we constitute the technical committees, bringing on board all the relevant stakeholders. And with these new guidelines, the issues of silo mentality has been taken care of, and also the issue of lack of ownership, because the policies will not be implemented unless the stakeholders own up the policy. And how do they do this? They do this by participating in the formulation of the policy. Another issue that we have that is a challenge is the resource to implement the policy. So with this, we also bring our policy makers on board, and hence we are able to address now the challenges that we have at hand. Thank you, Director.
Thank you. So you see why it was so important for you to be here, so that at least you can clarify some of the issues that are coming out as challenges. I want to pause a bit and come to you, audience. A number of challenges or constraints have been identified. Is there any burning one that you feel as a panel need to know? One burning one that you feel has been left out, that you've been feeling is a major challenge in the way we implement our policies for sustainable agriculture. We've talked about matching performance contracts with the policies. That a policy is made, you need to match. We've talked about all these, putting together all these fragmented policies together so that they can talk to one sector or to a broader sector, more what we call a systems approach to policy implementation. And then we have the issue of access, the issue of silos, and also the issues of governance. Please, very quickly, and then we go to the second round.
One of the challenges which we have is that all these policies are passed without public participation. So how do the citizens who then are requested to, through their tax, to actually fund the implementation of the policy framework, where are they included when this is being done, so that there is feedback on those particular policies which affect how they engage at different levels?
Okay, thank you. Public participation. Be very quick so that we can cover as much.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I don't need to repeat to say my name. I'm holding about 3 policies under the Ministry of Agriculture. I have coffee marketing and coffee marketing strategy. I have agricultural insurance policy. Then I also got a program for launch of national agroecology strategy. So my concern is actually on in terms of translation, because now you academia, you want to package a document for Mama Mboga, so it's actually very difficult for maybe for the Mama Mboga to understand such or whatever report that you come with. But of course, Madam Moderator, for your information, we've done serious public participation. In terms of ownership, we as the public, we can actually own all the policies that actually have been developed by this ministry. So the aspect of ownership is not a serious challenge. But going forward, would want maybe that policy making should actually be devolved from Nairobi to the counties. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Glad that you responded to the question. We'll take only 3.
Another one.
I want to take only 3, then we go to the second round.
Another area is policies as a result of pronouncements by the executive without needs assessment.
Okay, very well. You have heard about these challenges very well. I know our rapporteurs are around, and if they can give sticker notes, we can still pick more. But in the interest of time, as the panel is here waiting, I want to go to the next question to our panelists. So the second question is, agriculture in Kenya is devolved. And so we have the national government, we have the county governments. Lately, there have been issues of county governments making their own policies without referencing the national policy. So what kind of coordination mechanisms are there to ensure coherent agricultural policy planning, budgeting, and execution, so that you don't have policies that are running parallel, the county, the national? Who wants to start? Phyllis is ready.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say that the policies that are made at national level, the counties are involved. As for the Ministry of Agriculture, we have the Joint Agriculture Sector Secretariat and Forum, where the 2 levels of government talk as matters of agriculture is concerned. And the counties, because the policy that are made at national level, they target the whole country. But we know very well that our country, we have diversity in the counties. So what should happen is that the counties should cascade those policies to their level, so that they pick the part that applies to them. Because when the policy is made at a national level, it's a national policy, and each county has their own advantage in various issues and disadvantage also in the same measure. So they will take that policy and cascade down to themselves. And the other thing is that when the constitution was put in place, and we also had acts like the Intergovernmental Relations Act, the idea was to ensure the 2 levels of government are talking, and then they can actually deliver to the mwananchi as one. Because we realize that the community, the farmers and the stakeholders in the agriculture sector, I don't think their interest is to know who is bringing what. their interest is to see that whatever they require for them to advance is in place, and therefore the two levels of government should work together, because we realize that even at that policy level, the national government still has a big role in terms of coordination and regulations, because the national government holds a lot of the regulatory sagas that are regulating the sector, and therefore it's very important for the two levels of government to work together and they deliver for Kenya as one, so that you pick your space and then you move on and work closely with the national government, because as much as we are devolved, we are still one government.
So Phyllis, you sit at the national government, so who should enforce that integration and localization?
When the new constitution came into being and we get the counties, the Intergovernmental Relations Act put in place some institutions. The Council of Governors, the sector forums, and the Council of Governors articulate issues as far as the devolved functions are concerned. And then we have the sector forum that deal with the specific specific sector issues. And from there, and I want to talk about the agriculture sector, because I have occupied that space. I was the coordinator for Intergovernmental Secretariat Agriculture sector in the first phase of devolution. And when we were discussing, it is impossible to separate the two, despite the two levels are not dependent.
They are all
they are, I don't know, it's both. And therefore they must find their space, and the two levels have to talk, because if you don't talk, like for example, if today, like some of them suggested sometimes, that they would want KEFIS devolved, because that's where again we have an issue. If KEFIS today is devolved, even what is in airports right now would not go anywhere, because KEFIS is the designated authority. And we also have to know that when countries deal with Kenya, it is government to government, so there is nothing like counties. They deal, whether it's a problem in Kericho County, Nakuru County, or wherever, it will be dealt as a Kenyan problem. Like now, as we talk today, our French beans, we used to brag that we are #1 exporter of French beans. That is far from it today because of pesticide levels, and we know counties are responsible for agriculture. And for us to move forward, the two levels of government have to work together, because it's not a county issue, it's not a national government issue, it's a Kenyan issue. And we need to work and deliver for the Mwananchi as one government. Regardless of the level, there is that synergy that has to be cultivated.
Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis. I can see how passionate you are about the need for integration and thinking about a whole than a part. Because as long as we continue thinking of a county as a part, not as a whole or part of the whole, then we continue disintegrating our policies. And actually we was meant to have the CEC agriculture from Nakuru. Okay. Anyway, we hope we'll still have some feedback from the counties. Albert, I don't know whether you are very familiar with the Kenyan system, or we leave that and jump to David.
I think she has covered it all. Maybe just to add 2 cents from a modeling background, I would say one advantage or way forward would be also providing like digital platforms for the data access. For example, this could be agricultural variables, soil, it could be soil health, pests, or crop yields. But this would ensure that the counties, even though they're feeding their priorities into these national policies, all of them are coming from the same evidence base. So I think that would also be so critical, so that they all share the same evidence base from this digital data collection. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. David, research is in trouble, because when we go to the counties, as researchers these days, you know what happens. Even if you have gotten a permit from the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation, the counties are also demanding that you have to get a permit from them. what do we do?
Thank you, moderator. Because for all the intent and purpose, we should get it right at this. Because end of the day, what we are talking about, both at national, county government levels, should be united. Because we are talking about the same very one farmer that we are dealing with. So for me, the way out is to strengthen this joint consultative and cooperative mechanism around there. Because for any policies that will come up with, the implementation will be domiciled at counties. So we need to get it right at that. And I agree, it is the space that we are moving into that is very complicated, because our system are still evolving. Like now, NACOSTI as a regulatory agency in the space of the research, the counties now are occupying another space. And for one, they don't have the capacity to review those protocols at their level. But they want to add another layer of bureaucracy, which will not be good for the research community. So I think this conversation is very important. I think it is ripe so that we get it right. For me, is we get it right. Because at the end of the day, we are talking about the end target group is the same. Whether you're speaking from the national government, you're speaking from the county, you are a researcher, end of the day, we are talking about our community. We have to get it right. We have to strengthen those mechanisms, particularly those joint cooperative mechanisms. In other words, we have to keep talking, and we need to talk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you, Chair.
Another outside
I think there are three things.
Provocative
Yes.
idea.
I think we have incoherence between the national and devolved policy issues. One, because of issues of data sharing. We have disaggregated data all over, even from our research framework, that we do research, we do demonstrations with the farmers, but that data is residing somewhere in the counties, but it's not even filtered to the national government to be able even to guide in the policy making. That is one. So if you have big data, the way we have it, we always refer to FAO data, all this. We should have Kenyan data, maybe from the county of Kisi's data. If you go to the US, you find they call it the state. The state runs with everything until the national government even sources this information from the state. The second thing, I don't want to go against my PS here from the Ministry of Agriculture, but she mentioned that we should get it from the national and trickle down. I don't agree with that. We should actually move it from bottom. That is actually why we talk about bottom up, isn't it? So bottom up means let's have county governments prioritize their areas, identify the problems they are addressing, then the policies that, or what we call issues that they have there, can penetrate up into a policy. Then even implementation of that policy will be uniform. Because even in this country, even though it's small, we have different value chains. We were doing a lot of work with KESA, and you find every county has a different value chain. So you need to get this from below to the top. And the last one, I don't know whether regulators can also devolve their regulation. What is so difficult? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Just to add to what my colleague just said about having the policies done rightly, I think we need to align the policies and strategies together between the county governments and the national government so that we are working as one team. By strengthening the intergovernmental framework, that is how we can be able now to link between the national government and the county government so that we develop the policies and the strategies for various sectors together so that we move as one country. Because like in the Ministry of Environment, for example, if I'm implementing an environmental project, I'm implementing it in a certain county. So we need to work with that county so that as we develop even the project, then we are all working together as a team. Again, together with the Council of Governors, I think there is need for the sector working groups or intergovernmental frameworks for every sector so that now we can work together in the various sectors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dear ST, what is your reaction towards what you're hearing as some of the areas that we need to tackle from the country? I'm coming right away after those leaders speaks.
Very serious.
You'll be the first one to give the reaction.
I thank you.
Yes. So we'll take three questions. I already have a comment or question from Professor Michieka. Any other? Okay, we have one. So that, two. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Before I respond, I wish to inform one of the participants that with the new guidelines on policy formulation, you cannot take the draft policy to the cabinet for approval without public participation. That was a gap that was there, and now it has been filled. And let me say that my own view is that the county government policies should be informed by the national policies. And that means when we are formulating the national policies, we bring everybody on board so that it is all comprehensive. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that clarification. The new, our constitution, we keep talking about the new. Now it's not new, actually it's ready for revision, right? Because it's more than 10 years, so it's due for revision. But still, it emphasizes the need for public participation, and we are glad to see even within the research sector, not just politics, it is already being implemented and stakeholder consultations are going on. So Professor Michieka, your interjection.
Madam Moderator, really, thank you very much. This is a very powerful team, and I commend you for all your remarks throughout, really. But I have a very strong, serious concern. We are one nation. We have counties. We made that constitution 2010, passed it, everybody loved it. Didn't we see a loophole that would have needed even arbitration? How can a county make regulations that may clash with the constitution? You guys are confusing us. Maybe I'm confused. There is no way that the constitution would be overridden or bring confusion to the county. And we should have actually seen this. When I was in NEMA, the MCA 1999 coming through was MCA for Kenya. And it did not mean it would translate Nyandarua into baby MCA. No way. If I'm doing string beans, the one you said, the one that is being refused because of the chemicals, it is a national concern. There is not a county that can send food, even avocado, to China, saying it has come from Nyandarua. It will just simply say avocado from Kenya. Could you please, you senior people, intelligentsia you are, advise properly so we know where we are? Even if there is a problem, won't there be then an arbitrator to ensure that whatever comes clashing with the Constitution must be taken care of? Otherwise, we didn't think when we were doing that Constitution. I think it comes to you.
People read for us,
Yeah.
So we are admitting that we didn't read. People read for us. Anyway, so let me get, so who would like to take that? Any of you? And then we take, I think there are two other reactions. And as we react, please make them short so that we can have maybe another 5 or so minutes, because I'm almost being signaled my time is up.
Thank you so much, panelists, and thank you, moderator. I'm just seated here listening to the discussion and thinking of, I work with a lot of communities. I'm a water scientist, and I'm down with the communities and the farmers. And every time I go to them, they tell me the policies are not working. That's the first thing they tell me. And we are talking about integration. For me, the issue is the process. Because let me tell you, when you talk to these people, like we are saying public participation, those are selected people to participate, to give you what they think you want to hear. I'll tell you what one lady told us, and told us, you scientists are so stupid. And I was shocked, in a very high-profile place. And they said, have you ever noticed when we come, we ask you, where do you come from? And then we give you the answer, which we think is what you want to do. So I think the process needs to be relooked. How do we really get the feedback to the real people? To the real people. And that is where the issue of policy implementation, policy adoption, and policy working is coming from. So unless we address that, we can have all these forums, we can discuss. So my question is, when do we get this outside the boardroom and really get to the people and to the county? And I work with a lot of counties, and I know this is one of the biggest challenge. And unless we address it, we'll discuss this for several years.
Yeah, so Prof, you're talking about the channels of communication, about some of these policies. But one more, then we can do the final round. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the mic. I needed to come this side now, but anyway, you have the mic.
Okay, mine is very shorter. I would refer to the Constitution of Kenya 2010. It has, in the 4th schedule, it has given us the different mandates for the national government and the county governments, and it's very clear, just as Prof has said. So it gives the national government the mandate to do policy and research, and then it gives the county governments their mandates. So if we are clear on our different mandates, we will not be talking about us not being in synergy. Because as she said, it's not like the national government is going to make the policy and just force on the county governments. No, the process is that we involve the county governments as we do the policies. We involve the research that will inform data-driven policies in our different sectors. So we need to just make it more stronger, make it work better, because we have very good constitution, we have very good policies. It's just a matter of us making it work out. One last thing before I give out the mic. We need also to look at, when you're doing our policies, we need to look at those policies that have the highest impact. We are researching in all the areas, but which research will have the greatest impact, the most returns, and the most effect on our communities? I think it's high time we start prioritizing our research so that we don't just research for the sake of research, have something there in livestock, have something there in forestry, but there are those areas that will cause the most impact to our farmers. We need to look into that. Thank you.
So that is about prioritization of research, and I would like Dr. Ngige to talk about prioritization, research prioritization. I wanted to give a chance to a farmer. Is there a farmer in the house who would like to say something about what they have observed, how the national government interacts with the county governments at the farmer level? Okay, let's get him quickly.
Thank you. One thing that we observe at the grassroots level, especially when the researchers are on the ground, they wanted to do a research on any topic, we notice that it is very important for them to ask the farmers what do they like to be done to them. So sometimes they say, we want to do this and that, and sometimes the farmers just agree because they have to do something, or they have to maybe agree with them because maybe they are using their organization or cooperative or group. But finally, when that research goes far from that, it will not work because there is no sustainability, because it did not research exactly from the beginning. But when you ask the farmer what do they want the government or the researchers to do, just listen to them and pick from there. And now you can go now and implement and do consultation and participate, bring a participatory group and share together. Then that is when you can sustain that research. Thank you.
Okay, that is from the farmer. There's a disconnect between what you are researching and what the farmer feels the researchers should be doing for them. When it comes to industry, it is the same. The industry says they see there's good research, but it is not responding to our needs as industry. So what can we do? So as you respond to that, just very quickly, I would like you to combine with the question on how we can make farming more attractive to young people, women and youth. What can we do? What policies need to be strengthened or formed? Although I don't think we need to form any more policies. We have enough policies. What do we need to do to ensure that we empower youth and women and other disadvantaged communities to contribute to research and hence sustainability in our food systems? So if you have a comment, yeah, Gige, you are first because you are on the firing.
Thank you. Yeah, because I see where we are headed. And thank you very much for this, and particularly for the angle that we've been brought in about the issue of the Constitution and how it disaggregates the roles. Yes, it's very true. What I just wanted to make a comment, perhaps it brought all these issues. There's the issue of Constitution, Prof, the issues of legislation, and the issues of guidelines and regulations. There is no confusion between the Constitution and the legislation, the acts of Parliament, because they will be null and void if they are not consistent with the Constitution. So where there are issues is when you come to the regulations and guidelines at county levels, how they want to do that. So I just wanted to bring that. That's an issue I was thinking, so it's for debate. Again, the issues of research priority setting in this country, yes, it is one of the functions of NACOSTI, but NACOSTI only as a coordinating role. It is the role of the stakeholders to set the priorities, the areas that are, as a country, as a region, we think it is important for us to do that. I want to agree 100%. There is that disconnect between the researcher-led initiatives and what the community need. It's a gap, it's an issue, because researchers would approach NACOSTI with already developed proposal or concept or protocol. For us, it's just to ensure the science is correct and ethics. So we will license them to come to the community, but there is a direct disconnect. We need a debate there because it has to be demand-driven, not necessarily supply-driven, because more or less most of the research is supply-driven. Not what the industry need, not what the community need, but what the scientific community perhaps need. There's a debate there and there's an area for improvement. Maybe, moderator, just to pick a quick one in terms of what you're indicating, how we could be able to help these specific groups that you have picked, the farmers, the women, and the youth. I would quickly just point out the issues of the youth and see, because what is the future of agriculture if the youth are not interested in this? So perhaps that's an issue we really need to prioritize and think forward as we empower that. And particularly one of the things I just try to think is the issues of the extension of services that has been missing in this country. Would it be better we empower our youth with the digital services so that they are able to provide those digital services to farmers real time? So to to me, strengthening and attracting youth in agriculture would be a good initiative. We don't need other policies. We can implement within our legal processes that we do have today, so that all these issues of climate alerts, all this agronomic data, our youth can be able to do that using the digital platform. So I thought one of the group to comment that we can have.
Thank you. Yeah, make it short.
Thank you. I can just make it short. The first one is, I think one of the challenges that we have in research is that we are funded much externally and not as much locally. I think that drives much of the research that I think we have to face it. As we go, and I think someone mentioned here, I think one of the Mheshimiwa mentioned here, that we need to expand the allocation of funding to research so that we are able to finance our own research work. Then it will be associated with the needs of the society or the farmers. And if you move from 2 to 5%, I think much of our research will be locally funded and addressing local needs. We try to do that much. But there are other 3 things I want to bring out on youth. Just mentioning,
quickly, just
pointing out.
Yeah.
I think the first one is connecting what we do all the way to commercialization. That would attract youths. Youth would like not to go to the farm traditionally, but they would like to see the end results where the money is touched. And that's where access to market is very important. The second one is affordable financing. And the last one, I think he has just mentioned part of it, is simple mechanization. The traditional way we do even big tractors and all this, we need to make agriculture simply mechanized. And that will attract youths.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Please, 1 minute each, our panelists.
All right, to add to that is we need to make agriculture be a business. Not only just growing crops and it ends there. And he has just said that we need to link them to the markets so that they can see the end product. Again, for the youth, they want to be in the value chain where they are doing the value addition. They may not want to be in the farm, but they can fit into where we are doing value addition. So they will look at where they can fit in the value chain.
Okay, thank you very much. Identifying where the youth fit within the value chain is very important, because we keep talking about youth in agriculture, but we haven't quite heard from them where they feel they fit within the farming system value chain.
And then finally, in the innovation, they are the ones who are very innovative, and so when they have their innovations, then we need to link them to people who can support them to grow those enterprises. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I want now to come to the big governments, but Albert, did you have a very quick comment?
Yeah, just like 2 comments. One is, I think we should involve the youth in such conversations. They should give us how they would like to be involved. Otherwise, I don't think it's also fair to also assume where they would like to be involved. Secondly, is also to leverage technology, because like she mentioned, it's a value chain. So now we have, Internet of Things, AI, smart, climate smart agriculture. So we could also leverage technology, and I think this would be super attractive to the youth. Yeah, otherwise I think we're out of time. Thanks.
As for the youth, I think we have a history in this country where and this youth we are talking about are those that were punished through agriculture. When they do a mistake, and a lima. And I can say it's a more of a perception than anything else. Because here in this country, if you don't have a job, you're a farmer. If you are old, you're a farmer. If you don't have anything to do, you're a farmer. And that's a perception that we need to get out so that people go to these endeavors with the right perception. Because these youth we are talking about today are the youth that are our children who have seen us to be what we are through a white-collar job. Now you are telling them to go to blue-collar jobs that are not, in quotes, not fit for them. In fact, even as parents, sometimes I think we have a problem. Because if your child has finished university, you could have even the resources, but you can't allow that kid to go and do farming. Even the kid could be wanting, but what will the people say? You've done a computer science. So, you know, I think it's more of a perception. And that is why in the ministry, we revived the 4K and rebranded them. Now we have so many schools doing agriculture. And the idea of 4K, you remember it was there and then it got finished? It was revived so that we catch them young. Let them know how their food is produced. Let them know how that agriculture can have money. In fact, we are advocating. Let them do it in such a way that whatever they produce, the school can purchase. And it can go back to the crabs and they will see there is money. Because you can't tell me agriculture there is money. And I'm seeing my neighbor, our neighbor, has been growing maize and not even producing 5 bags per acre. What money are you talking about? It has to be a concerted effort. Okay. The youth have to see money and we have to cultivate. It's not just saying how do we, because even if we came and discuss with them here, they'll be more listening to what they are saying on the ground than what we are saying, if I may say. So I think as a country, we have a lot of work to do. I have seen some changes in the developed world. Now they are talking about, some countries are talking about, for every 10 farmers, they are having 4 young farmers, youth. So, and what are they seeing is because of the profit or the money that is involved. So even in schools now also, we are encouraging the young farmers to do something so that they can know agriculture has money.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is from the Ministry of Agriculture. Let us not tell our young people to go farming, and when we retire, that is the only thing we do. So they are wondering, why should we be going for farming when it is for the old people? Daktari.
Thank you. I think everything has been said, but let me say this. Let us make agriculture interesting to the youth, and also let us make it clean. Because the perception that they are going to put on gumboots, they're going to go to the shamba, that is not interesting to them. Let them embrace the technology that they can sit in somewhere in a room and be able to press a button on the phone and planting is done. That is very much possible. And at the same time, let them be somewhere sitting on a chair and use a drone to be able to do the weeding and the harvesting. Let us support them in end-to-end process from the seed to the market so that they can be able to see the money. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director, for that. And I can confirm that most of these automations that are coming from farming came out of a concern by farmers in the West who said everybody else during summer goes for holiday except the farmer, because the farmer has to wait, to milk, to weed, to do what. So that's how they triggered the thinking that, you can automate a lot of things. You can actually sit on your desk here in Nakuru and cows are being milked in Nairobi or in Nyamagesa. You know, so let's think through. I think we have the talent, we have the people that we require that can actually develop those automations we need in agriculture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have only 3 minutes. 3 minutes for my panel and my audience, my good audience. I know we've talked about women and youth. Do we have a woman farmer here who would like to say just one pain or something that they would like the policymakers to address as far as farming is concerned? And we have a youth. I'll give them 1 minute each. Then the other minute will be 2 seconds each for my panel to summarize. Anyone? Women? Farmers who are here? Okay, we have a woman farmer there. Quickly, make it very brief.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As much as I'm a lecturer here, I'm here this week as a farmer because that's what I do when I'm not in class. And I would like to say farming is not bad. It pays. It can actually pay better than working as a lecturer at Egerton University. One our professor talked about capital. The youth and the women, they need capital because it is capital intensive. But my main challenge is about the connection between farmers and our county government. As much as the county government would like to be involved in the policy making, they are not helping the farmers. Unless you as a farmer, you are educated, you have some basic education to be able to gather information. We only hear about our extension officers when they are telling us to go for fertilizer or to go for avocado seeds. But other times farmers are out there.
I don't want the young people to leave before they have given us something. Young people, please don't leave. We need to hear from a young person. So summarize.
Okay, so what I'm saying is farmers need a lot of support from our county government. They need to educate the farmers. We are talking about pesticides. Why are farmers misinformed? They don't know how to read. The agricultural officers are not going out there to tell them when you buy pesticide from an agrovet, where do you check the PHI? So I think our county government needs to pull up their socks so that they can help the farmers down here. Also, connection to the market. When you need a license, maybe to export, it's very expensive. All those offices require you to pay huge amounts of money. They also need to rethink that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any young person who would like to make something? 1, 2, okay, we have a young person. Young people are digital, so he'll do it in 1 second.
Thank you very much for the chance. My name is Samuel, and I'm here courtesy of NRF. I was passionate in farming since I was young, and in due time, just after campus, I have embraced farming. I've faced so much challenges since I started until I feel like giving up. Starting it is more of resource demanding, and while you start it blindly, you'll go back to zero. For example, I've farmed yellow beans, and the timing of the season, it was off. So the rains were stopped before I harvested. So as young farmers, you need some guidance from on which is the right crop, when, and also capital to start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Again, many of our farmers are planting and praying that the rains come. We need to have more predictability that when a farmer plants, he or she can actually go up to harvest before the rains stop, or at least a system that supports. So my panelists, as you can see, we really needed more time, but unfortunately we don't have, our time is up. But as you give your last shot, parting shot, I would like to just you to do a flash forward. 2030 is 5 years to come, just 5 years. When Kenya had pledged, we had said that by 2030 we will be an industrialized country. So looking at agriculture and research, what kind of intervention would you be proud of? Now let's say it's 2030 and you'll be saying, wherever I was as a policymaker, as a researcher, as a private sector, this is what I would be proud of as you wind up. That there was a policy change, or a policy, or an action, or a behavior change that actually resulted to 2030 Kenya being an industrialized country through agriculture. Anyone? We can start. We don't have to start from this side. What you'd be most proud about? You can say 3 words.
3. Market orientation, digitalization, and professionalism in agriculture.
2030 will be there. Okay? Anyone else? David?
Okay, thank you. I think Kenya is a water scarce country. I would want to see by that time we are able to run away from rain-fed agriculture to more of irrigation, if you're able to get there. Thank you.
Okay, irrigation. At least Professor here is a water researcher.
2030, I hope also Kenya is ready or has done at least a climate risk mapping and is ready for the climate shocks with these extreme events that are compounding.
Climate shocks, strategies?
By 2030, I would like to see that our policies are implemented the way they should, because we are not short of policies. Everything is there in those papers, so that if it says we need to do so many hectareage of irrigation, we need to see that being implemented. And the funding should, for the youth and also for the agriculture sector, should be forthcoming for everybody, because I think farmers have a problem in accessing financials, both the credits and insurance.
Okay. Rosemary, you say last.
Yes, by 2030, I want to see a Kenya where we have cutting-edge technology utilized in the agricultural value chain, so that now we utilize the innovations that we have in our institution of higher learning in producing for our people. Thank you.
Director?
Oh, the last. By 2030, I would like to see Kenya that has sustainable agriculture and food security. That is what I would say. And that involves us utilizing our ASAL areas, using the digital technology and also the emerging technologies, so that you can be able to feed our own. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our panelists. You said something? No? Okay, yeah, please, you'll agree with me that this panel was the most excellent that we have had so far. A big clap for them. Yes.
They really left one of the most important component of the futuristic 2030, and this is this, that if I was seated there, I would have said this. By 2030, I will expect Kenya to be the most powerful nation in beneficiation, adding value to agricultural products produced, reducing the actual loss to minimum. Because the loss we get is so much that we lose much more than what we actually produce. Beneficiation, adding value, you try to allude to it. No, don't claim it. You try to allude to it. No, it didn't say like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that clarification. So again, looking at the whole value chain and ensuring that we have no losses. We are not people who live like in the bush. We are adding value. So thank you so much, my panelists. For me, when you look at 2030, I would like to see better integration of climate resilience and environmental sustainability, especially in the semi-arid lands, that we are not seeing them as wasteland, but opportunities for us to produce food for ourselves, and no child in Kenya will ever go hungry again by 2030. Thank you so much. Our audience, you're also very productive in terms of participation, so give yourselves a big clap. And the panel is closed. I now want to give back the mic to the organizers. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Our panelists, thank you. Keep up interacting with the audiences. They have many questions. Thank you. Oh, I thought.
All right, so as they take the group photo, can we give them a round of applause, please? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And of course, a round of applause to each and every one of us for the resilience and the patience up to this point in time. So now we
bringing it to an end for the first day. And tomorrow is going to be a very exciting day. Look at what we have in the morning between 9 and 11. Building resilience to changing weather conditions through adapting climate-smart agriculture, and the moderator for that will be Professor Engineer Japheth Onyando, the Dean Engineering, Egerton University, who will be joined by a panel of very prominent scholars, including our acting Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of administration. All right. Then we also have promoting natural resource conservation for the enhancement of ecosystem services, that will be moderated by Dr. Rosalinda Award, Director Research, Directorate of Research, Science and Technology. And then the last one will be improving food productivity, diversity, quality and nutrition by strengthening food systems. And that will be moderated by Dr. Samuel Mbuku from the Institute of Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, Kalro, Naivasha. Can we have an agreement that we shall be here by 8:30 in the morning, so that by 9, exactly 9, we start? Can we agree? Ni sawa sawa? Tukutane hapa asubuhi. From tomorrow all the way to Friday, we shall also be giving you an opportunity to visit the different demo plots that we have, the demonstration plots that we have at our Agro-Science Park and elsewhere within Egerton University. They are important. They are part of the reason why we are here and we are holding this festival within Egerton University. So in the course of the day, just make time to go and visit. And having said that, we started with a word of prayer. Can't we just also close with a word of prayer? Who can do a prayer for us? Harriet, can you pray for us? The closing prayer, please. Just come. Do we have another announcement? Is there another announcement?